Well, welcome to our Slow Down series. It's great that you're with us this morning. Our prayer is that you take time to slow down in the busyness and also the rest of January. We're praying that this is really, really important stuff that you hear and that you engage with and you soak in. We're going to sing Goodness of God this morning, and what a beautiful way it is to start our year. Okay? I love you, Lord. Oh, your mercy never fails me. In all my days, I've been held in your hand. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Come on, at the start of the year. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire in darkest night. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. And I have lived in the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness, 'cause your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Oh, all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God.
Oh, cool. Hey everyone, Happy New Year. Hope you enjoyed the New Year's Eve fireworks. I didn't actually stay up to watch them because I'm getting too old. But welcome to our Slow Down series for the 4 weeks of January. I feel like I'm a big advocate for the Slow Down series after breaking my ankle and really being forced to slow down. And it's really exciting to be exploring this topic with you in these coming weeks. And so one of the things that we're going to be looking at is really reflecting on our life, reflecting on the pace at which we live, reflecting on our schedule. And so, come along with us as we do that, as we unpack Jesus's teachings. These kind of ideas have come from John Mark Comer's book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And it was one of those things that Georgina and I found really helpful coming out of lockdowns, coming out of the tiredness we were just feeling. And so we are by no means experts on this topic. We don't fully know how to, get the best rest, how to rest in God's presence, how to find times of solitude and silence. But we want to share some ideas and from Jesus's life in that. And so one of the passages that comes to mind in looking at this is Matthew 11:29-30, where Jesus says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Like, don't we want to learn from Jesus? Don't we want to not just hear what he says, but actually put it into practice? What would it look like for you to find rest for your soul? What would it look for you to take on Jesus's yoke, a yoke that is light and easy? And so in these 4 weeks, we're going to be covering hurry and slowing, which is today. We'll be covering silence and solitude, so looking at what it means to escape the noise of the world, but also escape the internal noise that's going on, and just sit with God and be able to sit with our own emotions and feelings. We'll be looking at Sabbath, taking a full 24 hours for no work, and which might sound like crazy or far near impossible for some of us, but exploring what that means in our 21st century society and life. And then finally, simplicity. A lot of us, we might think simple, boring, but it's actually looking at an intentional life. That everything that makes up our life, whether it's in our finances, how we spend our time, our relationships, and everything else in our life, that everything is intentional and there. And so I encourage us, like I said before, we're going to be reflecting. This is a time of reflection to look on our lives, to examine with prayer and consideration just the way that we carry out our life. Corrie ten Boom said, "If the devil can't make you sin, he'll make you busy." And it's one of those things it just kind of really hits the nail on the head, that if the devil can't make you sin, he'll make you busy. Sin and busyness, they basically have the same effect. They cut off our connection with God, they cut off our connection with other people, and they cut off connection to our very soul. And so as we examine hurry, we want to look at the alternative that Jesus presents, and that's being present. To be actually sitting in the moment right now, not thinking of what you have to do next. I can imagine that some of us are watching this right now, thinking of all the other things that they have to do in the day, but what would it mean for us to be present? Because when we're present, we can sit with people and their pain, we can sit with people and their hurt, but we can also sit with our own feelings, our own worries and anxieties that are going on that we might not even notice or deal with properly. So let's have a look at hurry and society and just like how our world kind of views this. Michael Zigarelli conducted a survey on the obstacles of growth for followers of Jesus, and he found that busyness was a major distraction from their spiritual life. People who embrace this culture of busyness, of hurry and overload, lead to God becoming more marginalized in their lives. Like God kind of almost takes the back seat, and that leads to a declining relationship with God, that as God gets kind of pushed further and further down the priority list, like the relationship with God declines. And then we're more likely to adopt the patterns of the world, to adopt their fast-paced living, and then we kind of start again and we adopt the culture of busyness and hurry, and this cycle just repeats and repeats itself. And so it's almost like we're set up to fail in our society because our society is just go, go, go. There's this negative connotation with the word slow. Like nobody wants to buy a slow car. No one wants to be in the slow lane at the checkout line. No one wants to have their delivery take a slow amount of time. Like they want it now, like basically. And so we want to look at how can we be people that aren't always in a hurry. Like sometimes like hurry, it's important, but what would it look like for us to slow down? I really like how Paul puts the definition of love in 1 Corinthians is that love is patient. Like to be patient takes time. I feel like we can't love people when we're not patient and when we're not present. Like you try love someone when you're in a rush. Like it's a very difficult thing to do because you're thinking of the next thing that you've got to be at. In his book, The 3 Mile Hour God, Kusoke Koyama, I'm really sorry if I've butchered that name, but describes God walking slowly because he is love. If he is not love, he would have gone much faster, but love has its speed. It is an inner speed. It is the spiritual speed. It is a different kind of speed from the technological speed to which we're so accustomed to. It is slow, yet it is Lord over all other speeds, since it is the speed of love. Now, I know a lot of us have a lot of different things going on. I know a lot of us are at different stages of life with varying responsibilities and varying levels of kind of busyness or hurry. And we can be busy for many reasons, and those can be really good reasons. But one of the things I want us to think about is to examine our schedule. If you've got some time this week to just go through your Monday to Sunday schedule and just see what fills it. Because sometimes when we're so accustomed and used to hurry, like we don't even notice just how busy we are, almost just like a fish so accustomed to the water it swims in. Are we aware of just how busy or how hurried we are? And so take some time during the week to look at that, to examine that and to prayerfully consider, is there stuff that might just kind of need to be reduced or even gotten rid of just to kind of free up some time in that. And one of the things also is that if we're not really busy, another way that we can almost feel hurried is that we're distracted, that our time is taken away from us. John Ortberg says, for many of us, the danger is not that we renounce our faith. It is that we will become so distracted and rushed and preoccupied that we settle for a mediocre version of it. We skim our lives instead of actually living them. Our phone can be a very helpful device. You have access to basically all the information in the world in like your pocket, and it's solved a lot of arguments that I've had, which has been great, just to be like, actually, you're wrong. But it can also be this black hole of just so much time lost. I read a statistic, and it's probably wrong by now, but it was saying like the average person spends about 2.5 hours on their phone each day, and it's probably like double that for millennials. But that's a crazy amount of time to be spending on a device. And then that doesn't take into account like, watching TV, like streaming and all that kind of stuff, like just how much time screens take away from us. John 10:10 says, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And I believe one of the devil's tactics in the 21st century is to rob us of our time, to distract us so much with all these shiny screens and shows and things like that, that we just can't do anything because we just don't have the time, that we've wasted it, this precious resource that God's given us, and it's just gone. And so we live in a world that's not just after our money, but also after our attention. And so the thought I have for you is, where are you spending your attention? What things take up that time? And give you a chance to kind of, maybe it is screen time, maybe it's something else, but examining where you spend your attention. And lastly, I want to look at the picture Jesus paints. I want to look at the alternative that he presents to this hurried, busy lifestyle that the world says is such a great thing, and that's a slow, present lifestyle. Jesus lives this unhurried, undistracted life. Like he's present, He's in the moment. He's meeting with people where they're at. And one of the things I love about Jesus and the stories in the Gospels is that usually the really good stories in the Gospel are when Jesus is interrupted. Like he's teaching some people and then someone comes up and says, hey, like I've got a sick relative, can you come quickly? Or he's at a well just trying to get a drink and someone comes up and like he starts having a conversation with them. And so I want to have a look at Luke chapter 8, starting from verse 40. And it says, now when Jesus returned, so he was teaching, a crowd welcomed him, for they were expecting him. Then a man named Jairus, a synagogue leader, came and fell at Jesus' feet, pleading with him to come to his house because his only daughter, a girl about 12, was dying. And so imagine if Jesus just knocked him back saying like, hey mate, I'm busy now, I don't have time for this, but if you come back after, I can heal your daughter. And then the story continues saying, as Jesus was on his way, the crowds almost crushed him, and a woman who was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years, but no one could heal her. She came up behind and touched the edge of his cloak, and immediately her bleeding stopped. And Jesus asked, who touched me? And so in this short couple of verses, we have two instances where people interrupt Jesus in what he's doing. And he doesn't just ignore them. He doesn't just like cast them aside or say like, sorry, I'm in a rush. He stops and meets them where they're at. He stops and meets this woman who's been suffering this internal bleeding for 12 years and says, daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering. And then he goes and heals Jairus' daughter. And I feel like potentially that's how a lot of us would respond today. Sorry, not like Jesus, but like the feeling of when we're interrupted that like, I don't have time for this. And maybe if we don't say that out loud, we're clenching our jaw and thinking it internally, just like, when's this going to be finished? Like I need to go. And so what would it look like for us to be present? What would it look like for somehow to carve out some margin in our schedule so that when these interruptions come up in life, because they will, that we can be present in the moment, that we can deal with these interruptions appropriately and with love and with grace. C.S. Lewis says, how you respond to an interruption is who you really are. And so how do you respond to an interruption? Is it like Jesus or is it like something else? And so there's no silver bullet to solving the hurry or the busyness in our lives. There's not going to be this one cookie cutter solution that works for all of us. But I want to encourage you this week to look at your schedule, to look at how much time you might spend on screens or whatever else is taking up your attention, and maybe reflect back in the last week of how you've responded to interruptions. Was it with grace and with love, or was it with maybe anger and frustration, or maybe it was like 50-50, and look at what could change in that. So let's pray and look forward to hearing how you go. Lord, thank you so much that you are present with us. Thank you so much that you walk at the speed of love, that you show us a different way to what the world presents. And we pray as we continue looking at what it means to slow down, to follow your pace, God, that your Spirit speak to each and every one of us, that you show us what it means to follow your rhythm, to follow the way that you've set out for us. And we just thank you so much for your great love for us. Amen.
Over this series, we're going to sing a song that's called Not in a Hurry. It's really beautiful. It's a real beautiful reminder to sit and be and listen. Lord, I don't want to rush out of here in my own strength when you're right here. Lord, I don't want to rush out of here in my own strength. it comes to your presence, when it comes to your voice. I'm learning to listen, just to stand in your nearness. I'm starting to notice you are speaking. Lord, I wanna love like you. I wanna feel what you feel. I wanna see what you see. Lord, I wanna love like you. I wanna feel what you feel. I wanna see what you see. I'm not in a hurry when it comes to your spirit, when it comes to your presence, when it comes to your voice. I'm learning to listen, just to rest in your nearness. I'm starting to notice you are speaking. Open my eyes, I wanna see you. Open my ears, I wanna hear you speak. Tell me your thoughts, what's on your mind. I'll be your friend, I wanna see through your eyes. Oh, open my eyes, I wanna see you. Thoughts, what's on your mind. I'll be your friend. I wanna see through your eyes. I wanna see through your eyes. Your eyes. I'm not in a hurry when it comes to your spirit, when it comes to your presence, when it comes to your voice. I'm learning to listen, just to rest in your nearness. I'm starting to notice you are